Yep, I'm gonna do it today. I'm gonna chase Smells Like Teen Spirit guitar tone. Well, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I don't know about you, but I was a teenager in the 90s, and I grew up, I learned how to play guitar in the 90s, and so I grew up listening to bands and trying to emulate bands like Nirvana, Green Day, Stone Temple Pilots, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, Bush, you know, all of those kind of bands, and I emulated those, and I wanted to learn how to play like them, and I wanted to learn the tones of them. One of the first songs I think I learned on guitar was "Smells Like Teen Spirit" by Nirvana, and so I wanted to figure out that tone. How did he get that distortion tone? And so, you know, I did, researched it up, and I found out he used Boss distortion pedals. He used pretty clean amps, cheap guitars with humbuckers in them, and so I got all that stuff. I got a clean Fender amp. I got a Boss distortion pedal. I got a cheap guitar with a humbucker in the bridge, and I played, and it didn't sound like I heard on the CD. And so I tried to figure out, okay, how do they do that? And for years, it eluded me. I couldn't figure it out until I watched a couple videos. If you want to watch videos of how they did it, go search YouTube for a guy named Butch Vig, and you can actually watch him in a studio showing you like how they did it. The secret sauce of the distortion tone from Nirvana's albums is that they layered their guitars, like sometimes even 4 different guitar stems all in one take. And so when you're hearing those in your headphones, you're hearing those on your stereo, whatever, or on your computer, what you're hearing is you're hearing multiple guitar takes through different amplifiers, all being layered on top of each other. And that's how they got that huge distortion tone. And even sometimes in their clean tones, they would have multiple guitars layered on top of each other. So I wanted to try to figure out, can I do that? And through the beauty of things like Pro Tools and even GarageBand on Mac, you can do that. You can record multiple guitar tracks, put them all together, and you can achieve that tone. And so I was so excited to do it. So I'm going to try to do that today. I'm going to try to take and record some audio through one guitar track, and I'm going to try to layer it, and I'm going to try to do multiple takes on it and use GarageBand and different amplifier modelers in GarageBand to try to get the tone of Nirvana's "Smells Like Teen Spirit." So before we do that, we got to figure out, okay, what do we need? So what we need is we need a very cleanish amp to work through, and then we can use the modelers to try to figure that out later. Of what amps they're using. We need a really cheap, crappy guitar with a humbucker in the bridge. Check. The Squire Bullet we've been working on. We can use that. That would be totally up Kurt Cobain's alley. And then we have the Boss DS1 distortion. I've got it on the nano thing. And we've got the Boss Super Chorus. And I think those 2 pedals, along with the really clean tone of the Fender Blues Junior, and that Squire Bullet can get us at least the first layer of our sound, and then we can get through the rest of it. Another thing we need to know is that I've done a lot of search on YouTube about this, and what I've found is that a lot of people are teaching how to play this song wrong. They're not teaching how to play the chords wrong. They're actually teaching a more advanced way of playing it. They're teaching a more skilled way of playing it, because they start with this, F-shaped bar chord, right? Which is technically right, And then they go down to, they use the 2 fingers down here, and then it's technically right, but it's not Kurt Cobain right. Because Kurt Cobain, if he was anything, he was not a virtuoso when it came to guitar. I mean, I think the genius of Kurt Cobain was that he was kind of more of an intermediate kind of a guitar player, but he was a genius as it came to writing music and melodies and lyrics and all that kind of stuff. Like, that's his lyrics and his melodies and all of his counter melodies. Those are the things that inspired everybody. his guitar playing was intermediate at best. In fact, when you watch any video you watch of him, he's not doing an F-shaped power chord. He's doing like a 2-finger power chord. He's doing this and this. So that opening chord for Smells Like Teen Spirit is just your first finger barred here and your third finger barred here, all the way up and down, like, and he's just kind of doing this kind of thing. So what you'll hear is like an F sustained. That note right there is actually in it if you listen to it. It's like a... And that's what he's doing. And so that's the real way to play Smells Like Teen Spirit. You don't play it you don't play the actual chord. That's actually too advanced. You gotta play it like this. And then you're that much closer to getting your Kurt Cobain Smells Like Teen Spirit opening line guitar tone. So I'm gonna record that opening line and then and use the distortion in it, and then I'm gonna take it in, or you're gonna watch me take it straight into GarageBand, and we're gonna layer it up, and we're gonna show you how to get that tone, that giant tone of Smells Like Teen Spirit. All right, here we go. All right, so I've brought us into GarageBand. I'll show you what I've already done. Down here, this track right here, this is the audio of the opening line of Smells Like Teen Spirit that I just recorded straight forward from my guitar. It's the Squier Stratocaster with a humbucker and the bridge pickup into a distortion pedal by Boss into a Blues Junior 3. What I did on GarageBand to kind of tighten it up a little bit is I went into the clean guitar settings on here, and I picked what's called the Amazing Tweed, and this is basically a Fender style amplifier, and I'll show you what I did here on it. If I click on it right here, and I put a little bit of reverb in it to make it emulate what they did on the CD, and on the original recording. But if you click on this little button here, you can see the settings here of this amp, and you can actually do the mic position, which I think is awesome, because the position of your mic. And so notice I have a SM57 style mic right there, and I moved it to about on the cone, a little off the cone. Here's the gain settings, the bass here, mids here, treble here, presence here, master here, set up really super clean. Because you have a distortion pedal going through, you wanted to have that big sound, and if you had a distorted sounding, it would sound kind of weird. So that is to emulate the clean, like the Bassman style amp that Kurt used. Up here, I added in a second track, and I'll talk about that in a second, and then of like a Bassman kind of a sound, and I'll show you what I did with that. But then the third one is I added in, this is more of a Marshall kind of a stack, but this is to emulate like the Mesa style amplifier that he used on this album. And here were the settings for that one. So gain here, so a little more gainy, but the master is still pretty clean for this kind of an amp. Treble here, mids, bass, presence here. And then what I did, because this does not have any kind of reverb on this amp, what I did was I actually, and let me go back to that real quick. Mic placement here is pretty on the cone, backed off a little bit. I may change that depending on, and I'll show you what it does with the sound in a second here. But I had to use a spring reverb pedal here to get the reverb that I wanted for the sound, because it didn't come with any kind of reverb on the amp. So let me show you what it sounds like with this original track. I have these other two muted. This was the original track that I put for the that I just recorded, and then I tightened it up a little bit with the high end on using the Amazing Tweed amp modeler. So here's how it sounds, the original track. All right, so I mean it's decent sounding. It's got that distortion kind of a sound, and it's got those cleans are really nice. So what I did was, okay, I was like, okay, I want to double that kind of a sound, but I changed some of the settings. So check this out. Here's the settings for the original sound. Now check this out. Here's the settings for. I'm gonna click on this one up here. This is the settings for the second track of just the distortion guitar. I did not double the clean, because they don't double the clean in the recording. So here's the setting for the distortion track on this one. See how it's different? I lessened the treble. I put more gain, less presence, because that affects high end a lot. More bass, more mids. Okay, so that is on that track. So here's what it sounds like when you add in, I'll show you this, when you add in the second Fender amp. Here's the add in. So it just fattens that guitar up in a major way. It makes it a little louder, but really what it does is it makes it a lot fatter. So then I added in this. This is to kind of emulate the Mesa style amp, and this is where it gets a little bit fizzier and fuzzier. Because you'll notice if you listen to it on your headphones, there's a mid track of guitar right in the middle. And then when the big distortion part comes in, on the left ear, there is this fuzzy, really strongly overdriven guitar, but it's not very loud. And then on the right ear, it's louder than the middle, but on the right ear that's where the bassman comes in, and it's just this, mid-rangey kind of distorted tone. So this is to emulate what's in the left ear, which I think is the Mesa amp that he used. And so when I get to the end of this video, I'm actually going to play the recording how I did it, and I move this one. I pan it right, and then I pan this one left, and I left this one in the center. And so you'll have that. It'll sound like that in your headphones if you're listening to headphones. But let me show you what it sounds like when we add in, and I may tweak this one more to my liking, but let me show you. And it's going to sound different through this recording than it will. I'll actually play the actual recording that I did versus this is through like the speakers on my computer and stuff. But I'll play the actual clip of how I recorded it, and you can hear it in stereo. It sounds amazing. But this is what it sounds like when you add in this third guitar. Here's the other two guitars. This is the single guitar. Here's the two Fenders. Here's the Mesa. So super full. I might even back this off a little bit. It's really aggressively loud. And let's tweak this a little bit in the settings to back those trebles and the presence off a little bit and get a little more of that mid-range and bassy kind of a sound. And then let's push the gain up a little bit, and let's see. And I want to move the microphone, so I'm gonna move it here. Let's see what happens. Let's just go up here. Oops, that's not what I want to do. Let's go up here, and I want to mute the Fender amps, and I just want to hear this right here, and I want to get this open here, and I want to tweak some of these settings live, like as if we were doing it right now. And I'm going to get the mic, grab the mic, so I want to do. So let's listen to this, just this guitar. See how it changes it? Right about there. like that. That sounds really good right now. So if I add in, let's add in this the second Fender amp, just the distortion, and let's hear how this sounds together, these two. Now those together, when they're panned right and left, are gonna sound amazing in your head, in the headphones. So then when we turn on the other guitar, the other Fender, and we play the clean and then into the distortion part, this is what the whole thing would sound like together. So we're getting, I mean, we're really close to the actual sound there. It's amazing. It really is. So if you're at home and you're like playing, so this is where I was getting frustrated. You're at home and you're playing and it sounds like this. It sounds good. But you're like, where's that thick distortion? Well, it's right here. And it's here. It's all in layering guitars on top of each other to make a giant full rock guitar sound. And that's what they did. They layered in at least, I think, 3 guitars. There's another song, Drain You, I think, has like 5 guitars layered in on it. And it's funny because I don't think this was Nirvana's like intention. I don't think Kurt Cobain went into the studio going, I want to layer in 5 guitars or 3 guitars. I literally think he just wanted, they're a rock band, and they were like, we're just gonna play and you're gonna record and that's it. And I think the studio guys like Butch Vig and those guys, they were the ones who were pushing to like add in more layers. They doubled vocals on a bunch of songs. They doubled in guitar tracks on a bunch of songs because they knew what they wanted it to sound like. Once they heard it, they were like, we can keep doing it. And I'm sure, they had to do their little tricks to get Kurt Cobain and all those guys to do it. So, but that's actually how you would go about getting the sound in a recording for Smells Like Teen Spirit's distortion and their intros. There's all kinds of different things for the solo and all that we're not going to get into. This is just the intro, but fascinating, right? So if you have the ability to record your guitar, and if you have software like GarageBand, where you can go in and edit it, or Pro Tools, you can do that too. You can actually record a song and get it to sound pretty much like it sounds on the CD. Cool, huh? All right, well, that's how to chase the tone for Nirvana's Smells Like Teen Spirit.